Okay, this is the introduction to the last set of guided readings in relation to social processes. And the focus is on relationships. Clearly, a broad topic area. And I suppose in terms of the guided readings, there's a couple of choices that one could make. One could choose to narrowly focus on a particular area in some depth, or one could give some sense of the breadth of application in relation to a consideration of relationships in sport and exercise context. And I've chosen the latter, the breadth. And as such, I suppose similar to other guided readings on the module, I've chosen 4 very different articles. So the first one taps in and utilises reversal theory as a platform for an exploration of interpersonal relationships. Really interesting. Those of you who did the level 3 course will have come across reversal theory. John Kerr is, I suppose, what one could call the founding father of this as an approach, as a way of understanding, and indeed he's one of the authors on this in this article. So very much focuses on the exploration of interpersonal relationships in sport, and attempts to provide a methodological framework for the analysis of such relationships. So really interesting article. Hope you enjoy it. Secondly, we have an article by Alan Smith on peer relationships in physical activity contexts. So look at the physical activity side of things, the exercise side of things, I suppose. And a huge area. And one of the interesting things about this, and one of the important things, I suppose, not interesting, one of the important things is recognising how work directed at understanding youth, children, adolescents, and their engagement with physical activity or sport is extremely important in terms of our relation, of policy, of moving, of ensuring that we don't develop into a sedentary nation, of looking at the transition from engagement in physical activity to engagement in sport. So another really interesting article. So, staying on the theme of relationships, ethical dilemmas in sports psychology. This is looking at the role of the sports psychologist and the relationships that he or she might find themselves in terms of their work. And applied sports psychologists often find themselves in situations which aren't addressed in mainstream psychologist / client literature, in that you may be doing your work, as it were, literally in the field, on by the side of the pitch. You may be spending a lot of time with your particular client group or clients. It may be you're at a training camp or so on. And I think that this is starting to be addressed, but I think it's useful to be aware of that. And I suppose in relation to the psychology in action module, gives you some sense of the kinds of situations you might find yourself in and the kinds of the ethical awareness that you need to have to ensure that you're working fully professionally, if you like. And lastly, in terms of the articles, I suppose a little bit controversial in some ways. It's looking at what has been termed teen cancer and media analysis, and it focuses on, I suppose, quite an unsavoury incident in relation to American hockey, and I'm not going to say much more about that paper. I'll be really interested when we get together to hear you sort of discuss it and what you thought about it. But in summary, 4 very, very different papers. I could have chosen another sort of 10 from similarly different areas, but all having at their core a focus on deepening our understanding of relationships. So I suppose the objective for me, the learning objective, is for you to get some understanding of these specific areas, to get an awareness of the breadth of application of the role of relationships in relation to sport and exercise. Okay, thanks.